Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today. This is your primetime destination news. Newsmakers talking points Monday night. Our big story comes from the Supreme Court, which has stripped MPs and MLAs of their immunity if they are found taking bribes during votes in Parliament. Will this end horse trading and money power in politics? That's the big question that we will raise tonight. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. No more notes for votes. Supreme Court overturns its own 1998 ruling, strips immunity for MPs and MLAs caught taking bribes. Showdown over Prime Minister Modi ka parivar call after Lalu Yadav taunts Prime Minister for not having children. Rahul Gandhi tweets a picture of Adani, says Modi's real family is looting the country. The Prime Minister hits back, says the entire country is his parivar. 3 days on, no arrests made in the IED blast at Bengaluru's Rameshwaram cafe. NIA takes over probe linked to 2022 Bengaluru cooker blast suspected. 3 people arrested for allegedly raising Pakistan Zindabad slogans inside Bengaluru's Vidhan Saudha. BJP calls the Congress anti-national, says the party should be tried for treason. Jharkhand High Court takes suo motu cognizance of the shocking gang rape of a Spanish tourist by 7 men in Dumka. Directs Jharkhand SP to submit probe report immediately. 3 accused arrested, 4 still on the run. 2 days before a Supreme Court deadline, the State Bank of India now seeks more time to furnish details about electoral bonds to the poll panel. SBI says it needs extension till 30th of June. Opposition says the government is putting pressure on the bank not to reveal details. Supreme Court rebukes Udaynidhi Stalin over his eradicate Sanatan Dharm remarks, as Stalin Jr. abused his rights. Prime Minister hits out, says it's habitual of dynasty party members to insult beliefs. In a setback for the Aam Aadmi Party, Supreme Court asks AAP to vacate its party headquarters in Delhi, look for an alternative plot, says AAP is encroaching into land for Delhi courts, meant for Delhi courts. And a big win for former US President Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential race. US top court rules that Trump can run for president will remain on the 2024 ballot. But the big story that's breaking this evening, the State Bank of India has stirred a controversy now because they have now filed a petition before the Supreme Court on the contentious electoral bonds case, seeking more time to reveal the donor details. That's right. The State Bank of India, which was to give all the details of the electoral bonds to the Election Commission by the 6th of March, has now sought more time from the Supreme Court and asked the Supreme Court to extend the deadline to the 30th of June. This would be after the general elections are over. The State Bank of India is claiming that the timeline fixed by the Supreme Court is insufficient. State Bank of India says matching bonds with donors is a complex process. Now remember, all of this comes at a time when electoral bonds have been the subject of much controversy. The opposition claiming that the entire system is opaque, the government has access to the donors, which the opposition does not, and this can lead to quid pro quos and what the opposition is calling cronyism. So that big move by the State Bank of India to ask for extra time to give the list of donors has raised several questions. Joining me now is Nalini Sharma, who heads our Law Today team. Appreciate you joining us. Nalini, give us details. Why is the SBI saying they need as much as 4 months to provide a list of donors? One would have thought in the age of computerization and digital accounting, this would be rather easy.
Well, absolutely, Rajdeep. And a second more important question is that why are they approaching the Supreme Court just 2 days before the deadline is supposed to come to an end? But what the SBI has said in its application is that since 2019 till 2024, which was the time period for which they were supposed to submit the details of the electoral bonds, there are over 22,000 electoral bonds that have been issued. They also go ahead and say that no details are available in one centralized place because the SBI was ensuring from their end that keeping in mind the anonymity of the electoral bonds and keeping in mind the anonymity of the donors and the privacy of the donors, there are multiple layers of how the data is kept, and there are separate branches where the data is kept. So there is no one centralized place. So it's going to take time. It's a time-consuming process to collate all the data together and be able to submit that details to the Election Commission. That is only step one of the process, Rajdeep, let's remember, because after this, the Election Commission has also been asked to publish all of this data. So a delay from the SBI is eventually going to lead to a delay by the Election Commission as well. But one thing we're certain about is that the Supreme Court will take up this application urgently for hearing, because like I stated, there are only 2 days that are left for the deadline to come to an end. So possibly tomorrow or latest by day after tomorrow, we can expect for the Supreme Court to take up the matter and also decide as to whether or not this request by the SBI is going to be heeded to by the top court.
So what are the court's options? Because the court itself had, by a unanimous verdict, chosen to suggest that the manner in which electoral bonds had been kept opaque was prima facie, according to the court, not the right way to go about it, and therefore had come out strongly against the entire system of electoral bonds, virtually declaring them unconstitutional. What are the court's options given that the deadline is to expire within 48 hours?
Well, Rajdeep, as we see it, there are 3 main options that are available before the Supreme Court. Number one is to strike down this request immediately, saying that there will be no extension that will be granted. The second is to accept the request that is being made by the SBI, which is to give them time till the 30th of June. And the third is to take a middle path where they don't give them an extension till the 30th of June, but possibly give them a shorter extension if they are satisfied with the fact that it is in fact a time-consuming process. But at the same time, if we go back to the tone and tenor that the Supreme Court had in its judgment while delivering the verdict on the 15th of February, they not only had asked for these details, but they'd also applied it retrospectively. Back from 2019, all details were asked to be submitted, and the Supreme Court had categorically said that this is in the interest of democracy that free and fair elections are held. So it's unlikely that a very large rope will be given to the SBI to go ahead and submit these details, but it remains to be seen what kind of case they're able to make out before the Supreme Court, and as to whether or not they're able to convince the Supreme Court even to give them a short extension, if one at all.
So you're saying clearly the Supreme Court, now the ball is in the Supreme Court, with the State Bank of India saying this is a complex, intricate process that will need much more, which will need much longer before they can provide all the details of the electoral bonds which they have received over the last 4 years. This will obviously raise eyebrows. We'll wait and see how the Supreme Court deals with it. But for now, Nalini Sharma bringing us all the details. Thank you very much. Now, the Supreme Court, all of this coming on a day when the Supreme Court overruled a 1998 verdict granting immunity to lawmakers, to our MPs and MLAs from prosecution for taking bribes to make speeches and then cast votes in the legislature. The Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud, said bribery is complete when a bribe is accepted. It doesn't matter then whether you are an MP or not. The unanimous verdict was delivered by a 7-member constitution bench led by the Chief Justice. The Prime Minister, among others, hailed this verdict, says it will lead to cleaning up of public life. It's our top story tonight.
Corruption and bribery of members of the legislature erode the foundation of Indian parliamentary democracy. It is destructive of the aspirational and deliberative ideals of the Constitution.
A landmark Supreme Court judgment ending legal immunity for lawmakers who take bribes to vote and speak in parliament and assemblies.
The legislator is rewarded with immunity.
In a unanimous judgment, the 7-judge bench led by CJI Chandrachud said that MPs and MLAs can be prosecuted for taking bribes for vote and speeches in the House, in effect overturning the Supreme Court's 1998 verdict by a 7-judge bench which shielded JMM MPs who were bribed by the Congress government of Narasimha Rao to win a no-trust motion. The court emphasized that parliamentary privilege does not extend to acts of bribery. The 1998 ruling had granted MPs and MLAs complete immunity in voting matters, shielding them from prosecution even in cases involving bribery. However, this latest verdict marks a departure from that stance, reinforcing the principles of accountability and integrity within the legislative process.
ये एक ऐतिहासिक फैसला है और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपनी जजमेंट में स्पष्ट कहा है कि भाई लोकतंत्र में भय मुक्त वातावरण का होना जरूरी है, लेकिन अगर रिश्वतखोरी कर रहे हैं तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट शांत नहीं रह सकता। इस घटना के इस निर्देश के दूरगामी परिणाम होंगे और सांसद रिश्वत कांड, जिसमें झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चा के 4 सांसदों ने पैसा लेकर नरसिम्हा राव की तत्कालीन सरकार को बचाने के लिए वोट दिया था, उस मामले का सीधा सीधी असर झारखंड पर पड़ेगा।
These provisions of protection to members of parliament or MLA are made for the discharge of their duties and only for those things without which they cannot discharge their duties, not to give them additional benefits like, for example, receiving bribes. So I think it's a salutary, desirable, welcome judgment. It is something which sets right the law and it should have been done earlier.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi lauded the judgment with a welcoming swagatam on X. He hailed the ruling as a pivotal step towards fostering clean politics and bolstering public trust in the democratic system. With the Supreme Court order, trouble now mounts for the bribe-taker netas of JMM, including Sita Soren, JMM MLA from Jama and daughter-in-law of party chief Shibu Soren. Sita is accused in one such bribery case from 2012. Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's raise the big questions tonight. What will it take to clean up public life, especially ahead of a big election? Will horse trading, money, power ever really end in this country? Is the political system still basically cash and carry? Is there a reluctance to reveal electoral bond donors from the government's perspective? Are netas actually resistant to clean up politics? Joining me now, Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, joined me. Professor Trilochan Shastri is Chairman, Association for Democratic Reforms. Adil Singh Boparai, Congress spokesperson. Sanju Verma, BJP's Evergreen National spokesperson. And Akshay Marathe is AAP spokesperson. But I want to come first to my two experts because that big order, that big story has broken at the moment. And Trilochan Shastri, you've been involved in it, which is electoral bonds. Now the State Bank of India is saying we can't adhere to the March 6 deadline to give all the details. We want it extended to the 30th of June. This coming on a day when the Supreme Court seems to want to clean up public life. How do you interpret that? Is it, as some are suggesting, I've just seen Rahul Gandhi's tweet claiming that the government wants to hide the details of electoral bonds. Do you go along with that? Or does the SBI need more time in your view?
You know, I'm not going to speculate, Rajdeep. But from ADR side, we do not like what the SBI said, and we have already decided to challenge this in court. So whenever the matter comes up, we will challenge it in court. And all these speculations about why it's being done, I would not like to enter into it, because from ADR's perspective, we don't know why the SBI is saying
this. No, so
this,
from ADR's perspective, and I'm going to put that breaking news flash. From ADR's perspective, which is a petitioner, you're saying you're going to challenge what the State Bank of India has done. The State Bank of India has said this is a very complex process. Professor Shastri, there are thousands of calculations to be made for entries to be looked at. Do you go along with that or not?
See, Rajdeep, you yourself said that and India is a powerhouse in information technology and the use of computers and software. So I don't see any reason for this requiring 3 months. And the SBI, if at all they had any apprehension, they should have said it on day 1 or day 2. They cannot say it on the 4th of March when the details have to be given on the 6th of March. So we are definitely from ADR side going to challenge this extension in court. It's really up to the Honorable Supreme Court to decide what to do.
Okay, so ADR says it's going to challenge the extension. Sanjay Hegde, just to get a legal perspective to that, on a day, as I said, where the court has come down very strongly and said MPs cannot get immunity for prosecution for bribes they take, the entire issue of electoral bonds has now come up late this evening, and State Bank of India says we need more time. In your view, should the court be giving them more time, given that we are heading into a general election in a few weeks from now?
Well, I can't speak for the court. But as a lawyer, from a lawyer's perspective, on day 1, I had predicted this. I had said that there would be an attempt to slow walk the judgment, the implementation of the judgment, so that the elections were safely over. Basically, what do you have? You have data points. even if there were 22,000 electoral bonds which were actually issued, it is not that the data regarding each of their purchasers is a separate, discrete data point. Those 22,000 bonds would have probably been sold to about how many? 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people. The question of matching each of those data points to the people who actually cashed each electoral bond. Because each of those bonds has a unique number. Even if you give the data as to who cashed how many bonds or how many bonds remained out of circulation, that they were issued but they were never encashed. Even so, by a process of elimination, it is not rocket science, it is not hard labor, it is not going over 1980s ledgers to try and figure out who has bought what and who cashed it.
Okay.
The Supreme Court would, in my view, do well to say, give us what you have so far. And then we will decide whether you made an honest effort to comply with our judgment.
Okay, Sanjay Hegde giving us a sense of that. Now, all of this, of course, is coming where Rahul Gandhi, we are news coming in, has slammed Prime Minister Modi, put out a tweet saying Prime Minister Modi wants to hide his donation business, is what Rahul Gandhi has tweeted. Let me give you the exact tweet that Rahul Gandhi has given at the moment on this electoral bond issue. He has said, नरेंद्र मोदी ने चंदे के धंधे को छिपाने के लिए पूरी ताकत झोंक दी है. चुनाव के पहले मोदी के असली चेहरे को छिपाने का ये अंतिम प्रयास है. This is a last attempt by Mr. Modi to try and hide the issue of electoral bonds. Why don't you respond, Sanju Verma? Because clearly there are questions now being raised that on a day when the Prime Minister has hailed a Supreme Court judgment that there is no immunity from prosecution for MPs and MLAs, along comes the State Bank of India saying we need more time to furnish details on electoral bonds. Your response, ma'am.
Okay. Rajdeep Sardesai, the evergreen anchor of India today. This is what I need to say, and this is what I'm saying in rebuttal. First and foremost, let's be very clear about the fact that the State Bank of India has more than 22,000 branches locally. Internationally, it has more than 229 branches in over 31 countries, more than 66,000 ATMs. And if the State Bank of India, which came up way back in 1955, is absolutely a bank, that we all respect, given its great legacy, if we are doubting the bona fides of SBI, then there is something seriously wrong with us, because a bank would need 3, 4, 5 or 6 months to reconcile its statements, its balance sheets, its profit and loss accounts, more so when the money that was received by way of electoral bonds a couple of years back was always supposed to be anonymous. So the first thing is, Rahul Gandhi, stop smelling a rat, stop smelling a conspiracy where there is none, stop doubting the bona fides of our financial institutions like SBI. Rahul Gandhi tried undermining, Rajdeep, the credibility of not only SBI but also LIC, saying that SBI and LIC are the handmaidens of Gautam Adani, despite the fact that less than 0.45% of SBI's asset base and less than 0.26% of LIC's asset base has anything to do with the Adani group. That is my first point. My second point, this entire saga about, electoral bonds say BJP ko sabse zyada. You put out some data from FY18 to FY23 without being verbose in 20 seconds. Data mere paas bhi hai. And this is data which is publicly available. It says that party-wise sources of income from unknown sources. In financial year 21-22, from unknown sources, BJP got 1,033.70 crores, Trinamool Congress got 528.143 crores, and the Congress got 236.0995 crores. Despite being the ruling party, which is in power either on a standalone basis or with its allies in more than 15 or 16 states, You have the BJP, which has a little over 1,000 crores from unknown sources. Congress, जिसका वजूद खत्म हो चुका, has more than 500 crore from unknown sources. So I want to ask, what exactly is Rahul Gandhi smoking, trying to castigate the BJP? पहले ये बताओ.
Okay, I've got 1 minute, ma'am. One minute, ma'am. Okay, please put the audio down because we have got more than 80. We have got, no, you can't finish now. You've had your 20 seconds. More than 80% of the monies, total donations via electoral bonds has gone to the 57.3%, sorry, has gone to the BJP. So 57.3% has gone to the BJP. Out of the total 11,450, and you can see the list of the other parties. But Adil Singh Boparai, in a way, the electoral bonds issue is now being used by the Congress to suggest that all these electoral bonds are being used by the BJP to fund their campaigns and for quid pro quos. Now, we don't know that till we actually see the details of that. According to Sanju Verma, the Congress is smelling a rat where none exists. Your response?
Mr. Sardesai, Ms. Sanju Verma's diatribe cannot be a substitute to facts. The Supreme Court has very categorically said that the entire scheme of electoral bonds militates against a participatory democracy and the essence of transparency, which is a sine qua non. Having said this, I don't want to open that chapter again because that issue has attained finality. Today, the SBI, which is an instrumentality of the state, the SBI chairman is appointed by the government of India. Ms. Verma should know this. Having said this, it is incumbent that they comply with the judgment of the Supreme Court. The SBI cannot at the 11th hour come to the Supreme Court, seek an extension. Please, let's not forget we're in an election year. If the BJP and the government has nothing to hide, then they must reveal that information. And if they delay revealing that information, then we stand vindicated that the government is something to hide.
Adil, do you have no faith in the SBI? Adil Singh Boparai, sorry to intervene, but do you have no faith in the State Bank of India?
Rajdeep,
we have no faith.
No, ma'am, you must wait.
We have no faith. We have no faith in the BJP's machinations. The BJP is out to demolish democracy. And please see the irony, the Prime Minister hails today's judgment, but it is his very government and his very law officers which in 2022 had said that the dictum of law laid down in the Narasimha Rao judgment is correct and does not require reconsideration. Mm-hmm. Today you see a
I need to come in now.
Please let me complete. Today you see a pattern where state governments are being toppled. You take the example of Himachal, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, attempts in Jharkhand, Kalikopul.
This is not the topic of the
Please put a voice down. No, you must, no, ma'am. He must have his full word. Please go ahead, Adil.
Mr. Sardesai, there are umpteen judgments of the Supreme Court which have categorically held that the action of the Speaker and the Governor and the central government is deprecated because they have facilitated toppling of governments. Just last week, what we saw in Himachal Pradesh, there was cross-voting. And all these are inducements by the Bharatiya Janata Party. So please see the hypocrisy of the Bharatiya Janata Party. On one hand, they talk about purity in the legislative stream. And on the other hand, they use muscle and money power to demolish democracy brick by brick in this country.
Okay, so you made your point. You made your point, sir. I've listened to you patiently, Adil. No, Adil, you made your point and you made it emphatically. Let me come to Akshay Marathe. Akshay Marathe, the Aam Aadmi Party, where does it stand on this? Is the Aam Aadmi Party very clear that, because remember, a couple of your ministers are in jail at the moment on charges of corruption. Today, the Prime Minister said the Supreme Court judgment that there is no immunity for MLAs, MPs from taking bribes is a step in the right direction. Your response?
Rajdeep, much like the Prime Minister, even the Aam Aadmi Party would like to welcome today's Supreme Court verdict because the immunity being granted to MPs was indeed creating a permission structure for legalized lobbying to happen in our country. And it is a tragedy. For the last 25 years, we had that system in place. It is very unfortunate, but a historic wrong has been corrected today. And just like the Prime Minister has welcomed the verdict today, I am surprised that the BJP is not welcoming the verdict against electoral bonds as well. because the electoral bonds was creating the same kind of permission structure for wholesale lobbying like the immunity being granted to MPs was creating on a retail basis. You look at the numbers, Rajdeep, of the total electoral bonds, if 57% were being given to just one party, then we need to know who has been giving these donations. Now, of the donations that are actually revealed to the public, I want to tell your viewers that there is a portion of the political donations that do get revealed to the public, and News Laundry and News Minute conducted an investigation into those donations and found that of the 335 crore rupees that BJP got from 30 firms, those 30 firms are the same firms that were investigated by different agencies. So are we to see there is a link between investigative agencies and political donations being made to the BJP? Perhaps the BJP is afraid that if the electoral bonds are also revealed, that link will become much larger, and the clear case of lobbying and legalized intimidation in return for political donations will come to the fore. The BJP and its donors perhaps are also afraid of that.
Can I, for a moment, before I come back to my politicians, just look at this larger case of the way this entire case developed in the Supreme Court of immunity from prosecution. You know, Tarlochan Shastri, the irony of the matter is that for years political parties actually opposed the judgment in this JMM bribery case. They wanted protection. Our MLAs, MPs wanted protection. Now suddenly all of them are saying this will lead to cleaning up of public life. Should we take any of these MPs, MLAs at face value now when they are hailing the Supreme Court judgment? And will it change anything? Will it actually end horse trading or money power in the truest sense?
It remains to be seen, Rajdeep, because even though they are now open for prosecution, the prosecution is the CBI, the police and all are usually, I mean, I'm quoting the Supreme Court, I'm not saying anything sensational. The Supreme Court has said publicly that the CBI is a caged parrot, referring to the fact that it follows the dictats of the ruling party. So even if this is so, in principle and legally, we also welcome this judgment, but we would like to see how it is implemented, and we would like to see it implemented impartially and not selectively. So somebody just referred to the cross voting in Himachal. Somebody needs to investigate, you know, why this cross voting took place, whether that cross voting was due to some consideration having been given to somebody or the other, and if so, then
but how
they
do you
should
do
prosecute
it?
them.
You see, Professor Shastri, that's going to be very difficult. Whether it's in Karnataka, where there was cross voting, or in Himachal, who is going to investigate it? The agencies are going to have to do it. Will they actually do it? Because only if they do it in an impartial manner, Professor Shastri, will anything really come out. Otherwise, these are all fine words which will have no impact on the ground.
Yes, so the great fear is that whichever ruling party, I don't blame the current ruling party, even the other ruling party, they use these laws selectively to target the opposition rather than their own party members. So this is a big issue. So the court can't do anything about it, but I don't know, we all have to put our minds to make sure that, you know, in an impartial way, bribery is stamped out from the voting in parliament.
You know, can I ask you, Sanju Verma, it's very interesting. The Prime Minister today said that he hailed the Supreme Court judgment, saying it will help in the cleaning up of public life. But guess what? This very government opposed a reconsideration of the 1998 judgment in this PV Narasimha Rao JMM bribery case on the ground that even the gross facts of a case will not justify taking away the immunity granted to legislators for their acts on the floor of the House. So today you are hailing it, but actually you all were opposing it in court. Today you are saying, even on electoral bonds, the same thing. The government has not yet come clean. Do you really want the details of SBI to be revealed to the wider public before the 2024 elections?
Rajdeep Sardesai, if you have the patience to listen to my rebuttal, I will respond. Because you have this bad habit of cutting the BJP right when it's making an important point. Do you have the patience as an anchor to listen to what I have to say, then I will give the facts? Or you can do this debate without the BJP's voice.
Ma'am, I have the patience, but if you are going to be personal, I will...
And do you have the guts to listen to the truth? Do you have the guts to listen to the truth?
Tell me the truth.
Yes,
I have nothing to
I'm
hide.
telling the
Please tell
truth.
me
Do
the
not
truth.
heckle me. Then Rajdeep Sardesai, please listen to the truth, because
Please
you
tell
have a
me.
panel where there are 5 people against the BJP.
No,
I'm
no,
the
no.
lone BJP voice. Please keep
go ahead.
quiet now and let me make my point. I don't wish to be heckled by you. Thank you.
Please do.
First and foremost, let's be very clear. Ulta chor kotwal ko dante. Chori upar se sina jori. I will respond to the Aam Aadmi Party. Today the Aam Aadmi Party is hailing the Supreme Court verdict. This is the same Aam Aadmi Party which questions the credibility of Justice Chandrachud and his team. It questions the credibility of the Supreme Court because the Supreme Court has said Manish Sisodia still deserves to be in jail. This is the same Supreme Court, by rejecting the bail plea of Satinder Jain in the liquor scam, says he still deserves to be in jail. This is the same Supreme Court, by rejecting the bail plea of Sanjay Singh, says Sanjay Singh still deserves to be in jail because 336 crore worth of money trail has been prima facie established in the Delhi liquor scam. And Rajdeep Sardesai, a historic day.
Please wait, Adil. Please wait, Adil.
Rajdeep?
Yeah,
Can I
please
finish?
finish. You have a
Can I
full
finish?
minute. And I will give
Thank
you a
you.
full minute uninterrupted. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, Rajdeep, historic day, 13th February 2024, barely few days back, a 3-judge bench led by CJI Chandrachud. What did it tell Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who was representing the Aam Aadmi Party? The Aam Aadmi Party filed a petition in the Supreme Court saying, no, we have not encroached the land of the Delhi High Court. This land was allotted to the NCT way back in 1993 and renewed in 2015. I read out CJI Chandrachud's exact words. Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, you are forcing the court to declare illegal land as legal for your client. Unfortunately, we are unable to do so, and we repeat that the land encroached by your client, the Aam Aadmi Party, should be vacated by June 15th, 2024, and an alternative.
Ma'am, I've listened to you. No, you can't.
No,
Ma'am, no, 1 minute. Put the faders down, including Ms. Verma. No, ma'am, it's not heckling. I asked you a simple question. The Prime Minister of the country today hailed a judgment which your same government opposed in court. Please answer that. Do not. I will ask Aam Aadmi Party and other. You answer that question. Why is the BJP today hailing a judgment they opposed in court? And what is your stand on electoral bonds? What is your stand on electoral bonds? If you answer my question, I'll let you finish.
Yes, so I will answer your question, but do not heckle me. I want to ask you something.
Question.
Can you stop heckling me?
Yes, ma'am.
I know that you are not neutral, but can you pretend to be neutral for a change?
Okay,
can
that's
you
it.
pretend to be neutral for a change?
You're making personal comments. I asked you a simple question. You're not answering it.
I'm about to answer.
Please answer my question.
Let me answer.
What is your party stand on electoral bonds and State Bank of India saying that they will take more time? What is your stand on opposing the immunity, on saying that immunity should be granted to legislators in court, a judgment which today you're saying helps clean up public life? I'm only looking at your stand
Yes,
in
so now
public.
keep
Please
quiet.
tell me.
Keep quiet. I will
Yes,
answer.
please.
Now you keep
Please
quiet
do.
and listen to what
I
Sanju
will.
Verma has to say. For
Please
30
do.
seconds. Who's involved in the cash for query scam? Senthil Balaji of the DMK in alliance with the Congress. Who's involved in the cash for query scam? Abhishek Banerjee, nephew of Mamata Banerjee, a part of the Dot Alliance and Anti-Modi Alliance. Who's involved in the cash for query scam? Vaibhav Gehlot, the son of ex-Congress Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot. Who's involved in the cash for query scam and Chara Ghotala? It is Lalu Prasad Yadav, an acolyte of Rahul Gandhi. Why is he being allowed to heckle me?
This is unacceptable.
Okay, put a voice down. Put a voice down. You made your point. You made your point. You're saying there's double standards. Adil Singh Boparai respond again. Because just as the BJP has much to answer for, so does the Congress party in terms of the fact that today the Congress party is hailing this judgment. Remember, this judgment is based on a case where the Congress party, Narasimha Rao's government was saved allegedly by bribes given to JMM MPs. I know that was in the 1990s, but it was your government. The fact is, therefore, the Congress party has to also be very clear. You talk about cross-voting in Himachal, there was cross-voting in Karnataka as well, where there is your government. Are you all very clear across parties that you all will stop this system of bribery? Enough is enough across parties.
Mr. Sardesai, there are two issues here. The judgment which has been rendered by the Supreme Court is on a legal proposition. The facts of that particular case have not been dealt with. What was under consideration before the Supreme Court was whether the principle of parliamentary privilege under 105 and 194 extends to legislators. So let's be very clear. There is no finding of facts as far as this judgment is concerned. Number two, it is a momentous judgment. We welcome the judgment. The Congress party's considered position has been that members of parliament and members of state legislatures must discharge their duties effectively without fear or favor and uninfluenced by any kind of extraneous consideration.
No, but those are first principles you are reiterating, Mr. Boparai. You are reiterating first principles.
I'm coming to your point. Please hear me out. The question of privilege cannot extend to bribery. Let's be very clear. Now, coming to the facts, there is one realm which operates in theory, which operates in dictums, and there is another realm which operates in reality. Now, please see the noticeable pattern. Over the past 10 years, you have BJP attempts over 12 states where governments have been toppled, where cross-voting has become the order of the day, where legislators and MPs change their votes, they change their allegiance at the drop of a hat. So obviously, this is at the behest of some kind of motivation. So hence, the Congress party has been categorically demanding that the BJP should stop its machinations in subverting democracy. Take the case of Maharashtra, where there was a judgment that the governor and the speaker acted in a manner which was contrary to the law. Please take the case of Kaliko Pul. Please take the case of the Uttarakhand judgment, when Justice K.M. Joseph had rendered their judgment. Please take the case of Karnataka. Please take the case where attempted bribery was made in Jharkhand. Please take the case of Bihar, where governments have been toppled by the use of money power. And please link this to the crony capitalism of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Why is the SBI, why is the BJP hiding information today? They are hiding information because they use these coffers to buy MLAs. They use
Mr. Boparai, when you're saying the BJP is hiding information, you're effectively saying the State Bank of India is working under the BJP's instruction. Is that the charge you are making? Let's be very clear today. Is that the charge you are making, that the State Bank of India is working under the Modi government's instruction?
That is as clear as daylight. That is as clear as daylight.
Okay, so you're making that charge. Okay. Mr. Akshay Marathe, you heard...
at the behest of Mr. Modi.
That's how you made... Okay, you heard Sanju Verma saying, who is the Aam Aadmi Party to take the moral high ground anymore on this? How do you respond?
Radeep, I would actually build on Sanju Verma's point. She has made my point. She has shown that only opposition party leaders are today being prosecuted for any kind of cases. I want to quote to you a figure that is an Indian Express investigation that shows that since 2014, there is a four-fold jump in ED cases against politicians, and 95% are from the opposition. That is the reality of India today. Imagine tomorrow when a BJP MP or MLA might want to switch sides to another party, all the investigative agencies will be thrown on that person and destroying their career. But when it comes to other party MLAs, MPs, opposition party MLAs, MPs who switch sides to the BJP, there is a free run, free for all, no questions asked. Not the state agencies, not the central agencies, not the courts. There is no system of accountability if you are in the Bharatiya Janata Party.
So
but
you're
if you're
claiming
the entire state machinery will be pounced on you.
Yeah, but the fact is, Mr. Marathe, that in the case of a Manish Sisodia, in the case of the others accused in the Delhi liquor scam, they've not got bail as yet. So they remain under the scanner. Just as you are hailing the Supreme Court judgment, then you must respect the same Supreme Court also if they deny you bail under PMLA. We can go into the provisions of the PMLA separately, but the fact is they've been denied bail prima facie for more than a year.
Rajiv, the provisions of the PMLA that allow a person to remain in jail are the most important points. We cannot discuss them separately. Section 45 of the PMLA makes it very clear that a person is guilty until proven innocent, and therefore they are not being granted bail. So we have to discuss the fact that a law, a PMLA law, which was actually meant to target drug lords, terrorism money, is being misused to target opposition leaders, and people are being forced to remain in jail without the trial even starting.
Okay, so the fact is the Supreme Court could still have stepped in.
Any democracy in the world,
I just
the trial
want to
has
bring
not
in.
Started, but
okay, let's bring in. No, ma'am, you have to wait. No. I will not allow it today. Please put a fader down. I am now today going to for once play the role of a strict headmaster with all of you. Sanjay Hegde, you're listening to these politicians today taking the moral high ground, claiming that, look, we are hailing this judgment of the Supreme Court, which is saying that there will be no immunity from prosecution for MLAs who are found taking bribes during a vote in the House. Do you think it will change anything? Do you think it will apply, for example, as Tarlochan Shastri said at the outset, to cross-voting? Tomorrow, if a group of MLAs cross-votes, prima facie, should we believe it's in return for a consideration? And should there be an investigation then?
Well, I am not sure that this judgment is correct in as much as privileges are abolished. Privileges are meant so that people can speak freely. A lawyer has a privilege in court that whatever he says, he can't be sued for defamation. Now, once this judgment operates, that's from tomorrow, wherever there is a government that is falling, take it the other way. Somebody is trying to wean away MLAs or MPs from a falling government. That government will launch a prosecution, or their supporters will launch a prosecution, saying such and such MLA or such and such MP is sought to be bribed. The investigating agencies will kick in there. So what is likely to happen, in my opinion, is that while you may drive money underground, it may not be possible to keep corruption totally out. But what you have handed over is an extra weapon in the hands of the government of the day and the investigating agencies which answer to that particular government.
Okay. I want to therefore give Sanju Verma a final word, which she has requested. She claims it's 4 against 1. I don't think Tarlochan and Sanjay Hegde will like being called part of the other side. But Sanju Verma, you know, the standards must be set by the party in power. I've given a list, and I'll repeat that list, of all the Operation Lotus campaigns that you've taken to topple governments, and the impression therefore is that this is done in return for consideration. How are you going to remove that stain in a way? That because you are in power, because you have the maximum amount of electoral bonds, because you have maximum access to cash and resources, you can resort to bringing down governments through bribery. A quick response. I have 40 seconds. Your time starts now.
Thank you. Thank you for taking me alone on the screen. I just have this to say. If Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party are innocent, then Sanju Verma is Taylor Swift and Rajdeep Sardesai is Elvis Presley. Unfortunately, that's not the case. I want to just tell you very quickly in another 5 seconds. Donation through electoral bonds in FY 22%. BJP only 52%. Congress 63% of money from electoral bonds. TMC 93%. DMK 90% BJD, Biju Janata Dal 90% TRS 80% YSRCP 7 to 72%. My second point is this, that who are the people who are accusing us of toppling governments? Before Narendra Modi became Prime Minister in 2014, Rajdeep, you're so seasoned, you know this. 143 times that elected state governments were dismissed, out of which 102 occasions. It is the Congress that dismissed these elected governments. And 1 minute, between 1966 and 1977 alone, guess Rajdeep Sardesai, your general knowledge question, who dismissed elected governments 49 times? Your choices are Indira Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, Indira Gandhi and Indira Gandhi. And the answer is Indira Gandhi. तो जो लोग आज डेमोक्रेसी के सूरमा बनकर कहते हैं अंडर नरेंद्र मोदी डेमोक्रेसी खतरे में है.
Okay, your time is up. You've engaged in whataboutery. Please, volume down. Volume down. No, volume down. You've engaged in whataboutery, saying the Congress also dismissed governments. That was, of course, in the 1970s. I was a young schoolboy then. The fact is, I am now an adult, and all I see around me and I hear around me is the strong possibility of bribery, of other means being used to bring down governments. And that really is the worry. I don't know whether that Supreme Court judgment will change anything, but we all desperately in this country want cleaner politics. It is not about BJP versus Congress. We want cleaner politics. We want funding to be transparent. We don't want electoral bonds to be opaque. We don't want to hear perhaps from the State Bank of India that we need more time to tell you who are the people who are the beneficiary who gave these electoral bonds. We want to see a cleaner election. with less use of money power and cash and carry politics. I hope at least on that first principle we all agree. The problem is we don't know how it is actually to be done. How do we actually clean up politics in this country? On that note, thanking my panelists, I turn to my Get Real India story. And my Get Real India story is today coming from Jharkhand. In a sense, what's happened in Jharkhand should really trouble us all, should shame us all. A Spanish biker's gang rape. 7 men allegedly gang raped a Spanish woman in Jharkhand's Dumka, beat up her husband. The probe has now intensified, with the Jharkhand High Court taking suo motu cognizance of the horrifying incident. 3 accused who have been arrested so far have been sent to judicial custody. The rape survivor posted videos on social media demanding justice and help. It's our Get Real India story.
A Spanish biker is allegedly gang raped and robbed by 7 men in Jharkhand. The 28-year-old travel blogger narrated the ordeal on Instagram on Saturday.
Rap for the all 7 men a lot of times, and they also beat us, they both, my husband and me, all the time. They are tell us to be in silence. They are beat us in the head, also in the body, and it was a very, very difficult moment.
Thank you for a lot of time for the government, Jankar. The police is very fast investigation. 3 or 4 people is the time.
As part of their journey across the world on a bike, the couple was traveling through Jharkhand to Nepal. On Friday night, they took a halt in Dumka. According to the police, 7 people allegedly tied up a husband and gang raped the woman while they were camping in Kunji village in Dumka. The suspects allegedly beat her husband repeatedly with a helmet. A police patrol spotted the couple on the roadside around 11 p.m. on Friday. They could not understand anything as they were speaking in Spanish. But the policemen guided them to a hospital, assuming they needed some treatment. The couple informed the doctors about the sexual assault and the investigation began.
काफी गंभीर विषय था. इसमें एसआईटी का गठन 2 किया गया है. साथ ही साथ रांची से एफएसएल की टीम और सीआईडी की टीम भी आई. ज्वाइंट रूप से घटनास्थल का हम लोगों ने निरीक्षण किया और अच्छी तरीके से डायरी लिखकर इसको कड़ी से कड़ी सजा दिलाना है. और दूसरा टीम बनाया गया है जो शेष बचे अभियुक्त हैं उसका लगातार सूचना का संकलन कर रहे हैं.
All the accused belonged to nearby villages and were familiar with English language. 3 accused have been arrested. The remaining 4 have been identified and a search is underway to nab all the culprits. Bureau Report, India Today.
Today's Good News Today story is from Punjab's Pathankot, where Dilip Singh has built an akhada of hope and positivity for budding wrestlers. Dilip trains these young athletes free of cost, and those athletes are now winning medals for their state. Take a look at tonight's Good News Today story.
Build on the foundation of positivity and hope, Dilip Singh's Mahabali Akhada in Pathankot is an inspiration for all. The Academy's USP is the free training provided by the coach Dilip Singh, who himself has played for India. The Academy was started by Dilip Singh's father with an aim to engage kids in a positive environment and prevent them from engaging in drug abuse.
ये मेरे फादर साहब ने अखाड़ा शुरू किया था बच्चों के लिए भी. बच्चे जो नशे की तरफ जा रहे हैं वो स्पोर्ट्स की तरफ आए और नशे से दूर है और बढ़िया गेम करे, बढ़िया मेडल आए उनके. मेरे पास सर 40-50 बच्चे प्रैक्टिस करते हैं.
The coach says that many wrestlers from the Akhada have participated in national and state wrestling championships.
स्टेट में भी मेरे 5 मेडल गोल्ड है और 2 ब्राउन्स का. अभी नेशनल के लिए सिलेक्ट हुई है अभी मेरी, उधर जाना पटियाला.
इंटर कॉलेज में मेरा सेकंड सिल्वर मेडल आया है। मैं तैयारी कर रही हूँ इंटर यूनिवर्सिटी की, उसके लिए प्रैक्टिस चल रही है। सर प्रैक्टिस करवाते हैं, फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट है। मैं चाहती हूँ कि और भी जो सारे बच्चे हैं वो यहाँ पर आएँ और प्रैक्टिस करें।
In 2023, the state health minister had told the state assembly that there were 8.74 lakh drug addicts in the state. Initiatives like Mahabali Akhada have the potential of preventing youngsters from falling prey to substance abuse. Bureau Report, India Today.
Lovely story, and we have a nice image for you as well. It happened a few days ago, but it's worth looking at because in this age we live in, there is nothing like philanthropy from the heart. And that's exactly what students of the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York found out when they were in for a pleasant surprise after a former professor donated $1 billion. That's right, $1 billion to the college, ensuring that the tuition free henceforth in this medical college will be free for the students. I want you to take a look at this amazing moment and the reaction of the students and think for yourself. Could our corporates and Richie Riches also similarly focus on philanthropy, especially in health and education? That is what would, in my view, make a better India. Don't you agree? Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night, Shubhratri. Jai Hind, Namaskar.
I'm happy to share with you that starting in August this year, the Albert Einstein College of Medicine will be tuition free.